Inside PressBox is presented by Freedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Freedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs. And welcome in on another week's edition of Inside PressBox. I'm Stan the Fan, the publisher of PressBox and your host. We're in the midst of the chase for Lord Stanley, and this week we'll once again go behind the scenes of the Washington Caps as we air another slick edition of Caps Redline from our friends at Monumental Sports and Entertainment. We'll also head to the track for the Maryland Jockey Club's presentation of another tip for horse players with track handicapper Frank Carulli talking about the importance of trainers and jockeys in the process of deciding who to bet on. But first, it was 24 years ago that then UMBC school president Michael Hooker took a bet on a young man named Charlie Brown, but they did take that bet, and UMBC, my alma mater, has been the better for it. But now the man known as Dr. Charles Brown is getting ready to bid it a career and step into the unknown of retirement. He's here to talk about his career and a career well spent. Charles, thank you very much for coming in.
Great to be here.
Long an admirer of yours. We never got to spend a great deal of time together, but why now? You don't seem like you're ready to go softly into that good night.
No, definitely not, but I felt it's time to leave after 46 years in the field. I wanted to leave with my health. I have a big family in Maryland, and I want to enjoy my retirement. 24
years at UMBC, my
Yes.
alma mater. I know by all objective accounts you did a terrific job there. Seriously, I know that. But what's it like toiling at that level of college athletics? Did you ever aspire to be, you know, the big man on a bigger stage, so to speak?
Well, I've had one or two opportunities, and frankly, I've turned them down. When Michael left UMBC, he asked if I would go with him to UMass. And previously, when I worked at Hunter College in New York City, Donna Shalala was my boss. And Donna, from Hunter College, went to University of Wisconsin, and she too was interested in me going to University of Wisconsin with her. But I love New York City, and I love Maryland, and you know, my family is extremely important, and they were happy in New York, and they're happy here, and that's most important to me.
You get probably, there's a perception that when I use the phrase, I said toiling at UMBC, there's a lot of positives about working at that level of college athletics. Can you expound on that?
Without a doubt. I like to consider myself a program builder. When I went to Hunter, I took over a program that, frankly, needed a lot of work. I had coached there, but so I knew it well. And so I built the program, and when I left, I felt much better than when it started, and we were the top program in our conference. Coming to UMBC, frankly, I won't say we were at ground zero, but we really had a lot of work to do, and I saw it as a diamond in the rough when I first visited the campus. When I first saw the advertisement, I thought it was a military school, UMBC. I'd lived near the United States Military Academy near West Point for a while, and so I saw UMBC, thought it was a military school, wasn't sure, but once I looked into it, I got interested, and every phase of the program needed work, and rolled up my sleeves, built a good staff, and I think we have a very respectable program.
What I was alluding to when I said there's positives there, though, you really keep sports, I think, in the proper perspective. You know some people that have aspired to the big time and got burned in the big time.
Right.
Could you talk about that, about how it does keep you grounded? You're not going to win an NCAA championship in men's basketball, all due respect. I mean, you know, so you have to be having other types of challenges. Could you talk about that?
Well, I think I've always been attracted to schools that have had very strong academics, and UMBC is no exception. We were ranked very highly this past year as the #1 up-and-coming university in the country by U.S. News and World Report. And so it's a pleasure working with a faculty and a campus that values education first, and that's what we do with our athletes. Our athletes have very high graduation rates. They're called, you know, we have academic progress rates, and we do well with that. And so it's just a great thing that we can work with students who are motivated to get a degree first. You know, like the ad says in the NCAA, you know, games, they always talk about we graduate 300,000 athletes, but they all are going professional, but not in sports. And you know, we've had a few professional athletes here and there, and we just had an athlete, Zach Clark, brought up to the Orioles. But overall, our athletes graduate and get good jobs.
How hard is it for college sports in general to focus on that? Because the dollars at the television level and things like that are preaching a very different story, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to make a decision as a university, and our university, along with our administration and athletic people, have decided this is what our goal is. And our goal is to make sure that our kids graduate. And you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
and that our kids graduate and they're there for purpose, and we recruit students who can do well at UMBC.
We're talking with Dr. Charlie Brown, who's outgoing athletic director at UMBC. Tell me about your biggest success at UMBC.
Well, I think, you know, I've been asked this question many times the last month or two. I think it's bringing spirit and tradition to the campus. I thought when I arrived there, always tell the story, went into the bookstore. I went into the bookstore and they were selling Notre Dame, Maryland, and Georgetown sweatshirts. And I went to the bookstore owner and I said, you can't do that. He said, well, it's our best sellers. And so I went to Dr. Hooker and he changed that pretty quickly. And if you walk on our campus now, you will see a tremendous amount of UMBC paraphernalia, black and gold everywhere. I created the alma mater with my band director.
Yep.
We created a band, we created a dance team, we created spirit. Traditions and spirit. And so, you know, we've won more than 50 conference titles. We have All-Americans, first-team All-Americans, members of the U.S. national lacrosse team, pro baseball players, pro soccer players. But really, I think the thing that has changed the most is that there's much, much more pride in UMBC, and I think our athletes feel that. And our alums feel it.
We're going to take a time out. When we get back, I'd like to ask you what your biggest disappointment was at UMBC and also the state of college athletics when we return.
Sure.
And we will return with more with Dr. Charlie Brown right after this. Inside PressBox is presented by Friedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Friedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs.